Good. That's right.
Arnett, ONN News.
And I'm Dave James on the Ohio News Network.
Calls and conversations continue in less than 3 minutes as the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe continues after this.
Technology can be challenging for business leaders, but Omni Strategic Technologies enables your business to perform without limits. They're the only IT company the Watchdog trusts. Omni offers IT managed services, cybersecurity and advisory solutions, backup and disaster recovery, and can handle all your hardware needs. If your business is faced with any technology challenges, the answer is simple. Call Omni Strategic Technologies at 304-242-7600 or visit them at www.omniperforms.com.
Introducing our new redesigned 7 News app. Our new app features a sleek, modern design, an easy-to-navigate home screen with quick access to local news content, and a localized weather forecast. Subscribing to notifications is easier, and with one tap, you have access to recent push notifications. There are more ways to watch and find video. To get the new WTRF 7 News app, just update the latest version or download the WTRF 7 News app in your Apple or Google Play Store by searching WTRF.
Over the years, you've brought opioids into your home. They helped when you were in pain, and you held on to them just in case. But holding on to opioids puts your family at risk. Learn more at www.fda.gov/drug disposal.
The members of Roofers Union Local 188 in Wheeling remind you to salute the fighting men and women of the United States military. Let's make sure they know how much we appreciate them for putting their lives on the line. This message is from all the great and caring folks, the members of Roofers Union Local 188 out of Wheeling, representing licensed, bonded, and insured roofers for all your residential and commercial projects. That's Roofers Union Local 188 out of Wheeling, wishing everyone a safe and healthy summer.
Hello, I'm Chuck Reddick, Commissioner of the Internal Revenue Service. We're working hard to get ready for tax filing season. You know who else is working hard? Identity thieves. Keep your computers and your mobile phones secure. Use antivirus software and strong passwords. Look out for email scams. Secure your home Wi-Fi with a password. Stay safe when you shop online. Look for HTTPS in the web address. See irs.gov for details.
For all of your IT needs, visit OmniPerforms.com. Omni Strategic Technologies, the only IT company that the Watchdog trusts.
Hello, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm the Storm Tracker, Darnell Foster, with a look at your local weather forecast for your Wednesday. Look for mostly cloudy skies with a few showers, a stray thunderstorm, a daytime high of 78, overnight low of 64 degrees under mostly cloudy skies, widely scattered showers. Widely scattered showers to start your day for your Thursday. Otherwise, clouds and sunshine through the afternoon with highs in the lower 80s. Have yourself a great day, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm Darnell Foster.
The views and opinions expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of this station or its sponsors.
Good morning, my people.
You've got to wake up, boy!
freeze!
What?
Because I'm making fajitas!
Today, of course, is National Fajita Day.
National Fajita Day.
Oh, fajitas!
I do like fajitas.
Celebrate National Fajita Day.
Fajitas! Be careful! Very hot plate! Very hot!
Fajitas are served.
Come on, it's showtime!
Opinions, rants, commentary, and interviews. Plus, your complete morning news, weather, and sports. This is the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe in the 100 Days of Summer.
Well, I suppose a breakfast fajita would be okay on this National Fajita Day. I could live with that. What about you, Biffy? A fajita sound okay for breakfast?
Sounds good to me.
I like the sound of that. We are looking at 71 degrees at the Wheeling, Ohio County Airport, 72 here at my home studios in the Elm Grove section of Wheeling, and 72 at the Robinson Auto Group Studios downtown Wheeling in the heart of the Ohio Valley. Steady rain still coming down in almost the entire area. Be aware we have a flash flood watch in effect until 8 o'clock this evening. We are going to look for 1 to 2 inches of rain throughout the day today, and it could be locally even heavier than that, so do please be aware of that. We are, as I said, under a flash flood watch until 8 o'clock tonight, so watch out for that. Temperature should get up to around 77, not a dramatically warmer than we are right now, but pick up a few little soldiers before we hit that high around 77. Also want to alert you to traffic this morning. First of all, some kids are going back to school, a little preschool or preparation for school. So please be aware of the fact that kids are out and around. You might see school buses again. So that's really kind of critical for you to watch out for. Also, because it's raining, just you want to take a little extra time because that rain is a good, heavy, steady, soaking rain out there. And we do have some road situations. I think as of yesterday, they started working on Route 40 in Elm Grove between Kruger Street and essentially the Schilling Bridge. And I think they're going to have intermittent road closures there, so watch out for that. Erica Storch, Ohio County delegate, has posted on Facebook, Route 40 East in Wheeling is backed up to the top of the hill up to North Park. Lots of congestion in that area. There is always, but apparently maybe more than usual today. Could be because school buses are out. Could be because of the weather. So Route 40 East in Wheeling backed up to the top of the Wheeling Hill in North Park. Also, I see a note on Facebook, Route 2 in Beach Bottom. There is a tree down blocking the entire road. Watch out for that. So just in general, there are some traffic issues you do need to be aware of this morning. Mixed with the rain, mixed with it being, for some people, first day of school, all in all, just take it easy out there. Take it easy and take it slow. Coming up a little bit later on this morning, we're going to be talking about assigned seating at home, hotels planning to get you with fees for what used to be free, getting paid for driving your kids to school. Some districts are doing that. And I've got some fast food news for you as well. We talked with Brad McElhenney last hour about Governor Justice applying for the Greenbrier East boys basketball job only in West Virginia. Only in West Virginia. God help us. The principal of Greenbrier East says the Governor Justice is the best candidate for the job. Disregarding the fact he is actually, supposed to be running the state. But at any rate, Brad and I were talking about that. Brad will talk more with Hoppy about that coming up at 10 o'clock. Also, the governor, every time he has a press conference lately, is being very clear. I see the enemy. I've looked the enemy in the eye. This Delta variant is deadly. It's going to get us. People are dying and more people are going to die. And then when asked, well, are you going to do anything about it? No, I'm really not going to do anything about it because I don't want to upset the maskers or the anti-vaxxers. So Brad and I talked about that last hour as well. And at least one Ohio County parent is questioning the school system's newly adopted reading program as being too sexually explicit for younger students. School administration, properly so, says they're going to take a second look at that program. I want to take a second look at it as well. I'm setting the table with this today so you know that issue is out there. But I have not yet seen what these materials are. I have my concerns that this is more of the we shouldn't be teaching that slavery was part of our country, or we shouldn't be teaching that we were bad to the Native Americans. However, I want to be very clear. In her article, Jocelyn King on yesterday pointed out that there was never any mention of politics by the one parent who did address the school board. I want to dig more into it, but I wanted to put it on the table for you. So that's a look at where we've been and where we're going this morning. Newsweek has a story today, actually yesterday. Senator Joe Manchin from West Virginia was the only Democrat to vote in favor of blocking federal funding from being used in the teaching of critical race theory in public schools. 49 other Democrat senators, the 49 other senators who voted in favor of the amendment were all Republicans. So Manchin, the only Democrat to vote to ban critical race theory funding. And I would guess that's the kind of thing, and I'll find out right now, that has prompted the political movement West Virginia Can't Wait to begin a little campaign to replace Joe Manchin. I want to talk about that with the co-chair of West Virginia Can't Wait, the former standard bearer in the gubernatorial election for that group, Stephen Smith. Stephen, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Howard. Thanks for having me on. Good to hear your voice.
First of all, what you been up to? I haven't heard from you.
Yeah, we've been building power, doing the day-to-day, county-by-county, town-by-town thing. So what that looks like is, the short answer is a lot of the same. We're out recruiting candidates to run for office, supporting them for office up and down the ballot, looking for those mutual aid organizations out there that are doing the work of government, or doing the work that government ought to be doing and providing support for them. So, yeah, we're going gangbusters. We now have 15 elected officials in office that are West Virginia Can't Wait candidates and gearing up for the 2022 election.
The group has started a website, replacejoemanchin.com, and you're talking about, I guess, replacing Manchin. I mean, you'd like to unseat him in the next election or sometime down the road. You're also talking about, air quotes here, the Manchin machine, the power of the Manchin machine that seems to be controlling Democratic politics in West Virginia. Let's be honest about it. Senator Manchin is a kingmaker now. He is he's the point man, bringing a huge amount of attention to the state. He's got an awful lot of power right now. Is this a fight you really want to engage in?
It is, and he is a kingmaker. The problem, we think, is that the people he wants to make kings are his donors, right? This is a guy whose entire career he's been a proud supporter of ALEC. By the admission of Exxon lobbyists, he's on the phone with them once a week. His top two donors, the two industries that contribute to him most, are financiers and corporate lawyers. Those are the people he serves. And him being personally popular or being in the news a lot doesn't help us here in West Virginia. In fact, it's hurt us. And we want to be honest with voters. Anyone that's followed the West Virginia Can't Wait movement won't be surprised that Senator Manchin is not the kind of person we would ever support in an election. So if we're going to be ready to take him on in 2024 and the rest of his machine, we got to start early, and we've got to be willing to not just focus on one race or one person, but work up and down the ballot, finding candidates, supporting them, who are not in the pockets of out-of-state corporations and corporate lobbyists.
Without reference to the positions he takes for a moment, the truth of the matter is Joe Manchin is very powerful politician in this state. And there don't seem to be too many people out there that could challenge him in a serious election. So if you want to unseat him, you want to put somebody in his place, where's the candidate going to come from? Where's that candidate that's got the name recognition, the power, the funding to actually remove Joe Manchin, to beat him in an election?
It's a great question. First, we don't know what or if he's going to run again, right? He has kept it shrouded whether he's going to run for Senate again or governor or retire. So no one knows what he's running for next or how many more times he's going to run. All the more reason that we have to be ready to take him on and replace that machine whenever and however the opportunity arises, whether that's in 2024 or, again, by starting in 2022 to replace folks. And, we've started to build a bench. We're fully aware that there isn't a large group of people who are working class, pro-labor, no corporate cash candidates in West Virginia. That's why we're building it. We've recruited and supported more than 110 candidates for office just in the last 2 years. That's a crop of people who may be ready for a race like that in 2024. And if not in 2024, then further down the road. And it may be that we have to go outside of that pool of people. But the only way we're going to have a puncher's chance is to start now and to build a machine, not just one campaign or build around one person. So that's what we're doing.
Steve,
one of the things that you can do at the website at replacejoemanchin.com, obviously we're accepting donations, and those donations will go to that kind of grassroots, neighbor-to-neighbor, county-by-county organizing and candidate recruitment. But also at the website, you can nominate yourself or someone else to run for office, and we'll personally follow up with that person that you recommend and offer them help, candidate training, financial support, communications, field operations. We want to make it so that you don't have to be rich to run for office in West Virginia and win. And it's important that the work we do is both of those things. Yes, we have to raise money to be able to challenge the Manchin machine, but we also need people. People like those folks who are listening. Maybe today's the day you consider running for office in 2022, and if so, we're here to help.
You talk about the Manchin machine, and probably nobody had a better look at that than you did when you ran for governor. You ran for the nomination for governor on the Democratic ticket. And Ben Salango, county commissioner from Kanawha County, kind of came out of nowhere, not a lot of statewide name recognition, but did seem to be sort of the machine candidate, if you will, the traditional candidate, and won the nomination. I mean, you've had firsthand experience with dealing with the machine.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I mean, the thing for candidates like ours, people who are not personally wealthy, can't write themselves $1 million checks, people who have to sacrifice in order to run for office, people who are going to stand on the side of labor and working class people every time, people who reject those big corporate checks. It's harder for us, right? Let's be honest. I mean, we're not pretending that this is easy. Going after the most powerful person in West Virginia politics isn't easy, but we've seen what happens when we don't, right? We've seen what happens when we allow our politics to be dominated by wealthy millionaires and billionaires on both sides of the aisle, and that hurts worse. And so, yeah, we've seen it up close. The system is rigged. This isn't easy. We're going to lose more often than we win, but I'd much rather fight like hell and win a little bit than not fight at all.
You used the word earlier, popular. Joe Manchin, again, sort of disregarding his positions, and maybe that's something we ought to talk about, is still very popular in the state. People like him, Democrats and Republicans. He tends to get a lot of support. Yes, whenever there's an election, Republicans call him bad names, but after that, both sides seem to get along and accept him. It's your position that, and by you, I mean West Virginia Can't Wait, it's your position that Manchin's positions are not really in tune with the state. Is that right?
Yeah, well, it's not our position. It's just the facts, right? On issue after issue, Senator Manchin does not serve the people of West Virginia, right? On the overwhelming majority of West Virginians support a $15 minimum wage, for instance. The overwhelming majority of West Virginians support a wealth tax. Overwhelming majority of West Virginians support voting rights. I mean, on and on and on, issue after issue, he chooses instead to go with those financiers and pharmaceutical companies and corporate lawyers that he actually answers to. And that's not, again, that's not just me talking. That's, you can Google any one of those polls right now and find it for yourself. But also, I would take issue with even the idea that he's popular in West Virginia. I think he's popular among the political class. He's popular among the media class because that's what he does for a living. He's very good at serving those in power. What we find is that as soon as you stop paying attention to the folks at the upper echelons of politics, most West Virginians actually don't approve of what he's doing at all. His approval rating in recent polls hasn't cracked 50% in a long time, and those are just polls of likely voters. You start looking at the folks who have given up on the political system, a lot of them point to Senator Manchin as the reason for doing so. We have to remember that in West Virginia, 25 years ago, Democrats were dominant, and there was a strong pro-labor element to the Democratic Party. Senator Manchin comes along, and he becomes powerful, but the Democratic Party collapses under his leadership. And that and everything else I mentioned is evidence that while the senator has done a very good job of pleasing those in power and staying in power himself, it's been a long time since he's, if ever, that he's served the people of the state.
When you were running for office, and you and I talked about this, and I tried to lead you down the road that West Virginia Can't Wait essentially was sort of an alternative to the Democratic Party, the state Democratic Party. And you kind of dodged that, didn't want to go down that road. It certainly seems to me that that's what you're doing here. I mean, you talk about the Manchin machine, which to a large extent is what controls the state Democratic Party. The party itself, of course, is seeing a lot of criticism from inside its own ranks about the way the party is being run by Manchin supporters, and so on. But it does seem to me that what your effort here is to create a second version of the Democratic Party.
I've heard that argument. It still doesn't sound quite right to me. I think it's right that what we're trying to create is an alternative, but it's an alternative to politics as it's practiced. It's an alternative to the Republican Party as much as it is an alternative to the Democratic Party. It's an alternative to the third parties as well. What we're saying is none of these parties is going to save us, and playing by their rules and trying to operate inside their narrow bylaws is exactly what they want us to do. And that if we're going to win power for the people who have been excluded from politics, then sometimes we're going to use the Democratic Party line to do so. Sometimes we're going to use the Republican Party line to do so. Sometimes we're going to run people as independents. But that it's actually crucial that we not define ourselves inside the strictures of one party or another, which, frankly, those parties are designed to exclude us. They are designed to divide us. And so we want a situation where we're helping any candidate that wants to take on the establishment of either or both parties, and to do so, we'll take whichever party line makes most sense in that race. So, I mean, it is absolutely true that we want to build and are building an alternative to the normal way politics is done, but we're not interested in some narrow battle for the Democratic Party. We're excited that a lot of the candidates that are coming to us don't identify as Democrats. They identify as independents, or they identify as Republicans or libertarians. That diversity of people is part of what makes us strong.
Your website is replacejoemanchin.com, but do you really expect to replace Joe Manchin, or is that sort of the sexy headline that just gets people engaged in the movement itself?
I don't expect him to live forever. I mean, it's an important question, right? I think people get defeated, right? Even in that question, what you're sort of asking is, you don't really expect to replace Joe Manchin. I absolutely 100% expect to replace Joe Manchin. That change is the only thing we can count on in politics. No one stays there forever. And either we're busy building the thing that can replace them so that we don't have another Joe Manchin, another corporate shill, another politician who answers to giant out-of-state donors. Either we start building that replacement, that machine of our own now, or we sit around and wait to get kicked in the teeth again. So I absolutely expect that we're going to replace Joe Manchin and his political machine. because we're already doing it. And the question for folks who are listening is, do you want to be a part of that, right? Maybe the thing you can do is chip in $5 at replacejoemanchin.com so we can get it to someone who's ready and brave enough to run for their city council and take on the political establishment locally. Maybe you want to run for office yourself, in which case you're not alone and you don't have to do it by yourself. We'll help. Or maybe you're someone who's completely fed up with the political process and you want to build your own mutual aid group, a veterans group, or get involved in your local volunteer fire department or recovery house. We think supporting those folks who are doing the work of government in their day-to-day in their neighborhoods, that's important too. Maybe that's you. Whatever it is, though, it's going to take all of us doing what we can, taking on the powerful and trying to do brave things in our own neighborhoods and workplaces. That's how this thing changes, little by little, conversation by conversation. This website is one small piece of that puzzle, one more way for people to get involved. But the answer to our problems is a whole lot more individual and collective courage from the people of West Virginia. And luckily, we've been showing that kind of courage for 150 years.
I can't envision the situation where Joe Manchin is going to retire. My prediction probably is, as he has done each gubernatorial election, when that time comes, we'll hear stories that maybe he's going to come back and run for governor. I don't think he will. I do think he'll run for re-election because I don't think he's ready to retire. And absent any health issues that may come up, I think Manchin wants to be where he is. So you're going to have to unseat him. You're not going to have to. He's not going to just go away. Let me ask you this, Stephen. Would you want to challenge him?
Right now, I have no interest in the Senate seat. As I said before, we've got 100+ candidates on our bench, plus a whole bunch of other people who haven't run yet but are thinking about it. I think the chances are slim that I'm the right person for this gig. But that's, it's a decision we make as a movement. I mean, one of the things that's different about West Virginia Can't Wait is we don't wait for politicians or candidates, even ones that are allied with us. We don't wait for them to sit around and decide what they're going to do. We're in active conversation with the folks we work with. The candidates that have been a part of this movement say, well, who's looking at this and who might be interested? So we think that no matter who ends up running for whether it's the Senate seat or the gubernatorial seat or whatever in 2024, the best thing we can do now to help that person or those people is to build this kind of power. Senator Manchin raised $1.4 million last quarter, mostly from those bankers and corporate lawyers and pharmaceutical companies, and he's getting ready. And we have to get ready too, and we have to build power in our way to be able to challenge it. So, no, I don't plan to, but at this point, no one's made any decisions about 2024.
I'm not going to ask you to name any names if you have any names, but I'm going to ask you, do you have any names? In your head, in Stephen Smith's head, do you see a couple of individuals that maybe would have a shot at the Senate seat or whose names might make good gubernatorial candidates for the West Virginia Can't Wait movement? And again, I'm not going to ask you to name them. I'm just asking, do you have some ideas of people you want to push in that direction?
Oh, 100%. I mean, the talent that we've got in office right now is incredible. Now, I'm not the one that makes that decision, right? Those decisions we'll make with those people and their families. But I think West Virginia has no shortage of talent. People who have come out of the teacher strikes, people who are engaged in their local governments in powerful ways, people who are out, serving as volunteer firefighters and leaders in the recovery community, and people who are doing harm reduction work. That I think we have a huge base of talent in West Virginia, including plenty of people who I would back in a heartbeat for U.S. Senate or governor or anything else. And that, sifting through all of that and talking to those people and seeing who's ready and whose family is able to make those kinds of sacrifices, that's a process that we'll engage in together. But 100%.
Let's step back just for a quick second, then I need to let you go, but let's step back from the gubernatorial race and or the senatorial race, and let's talk about, there's going to be, I think, some opportunities in this state in the next election because of redistricting and because of the single delegate district change that's coming that may open some doors for new faces, new names to crop up at the delegate and state senatorial level. Would you agree with that?
100%. And there's a new generation that's coming up in West Virginia politics too. There's sort of been a static generation for a while that's been in power, and all over the place we're seeing younger and younger people, people who are people of color, working class people, union folks who are throwing their hat in the ring. That there's an appetite for different kind of leadership, and I think you're right that the practical changes of the map changing and a bunch of municipal elections and county elections being up in 2022 means that there is an opportunity, and that opportunity again exists outside of and inside of the political parties. A lot of these local races are ones that are nonpartisan races. A lot of them are races where someone might decide that their best bet is to run as a Republican in a primary. So there's all kinds of opportunities for folks who are interested in throwing their hat in the ring and giving it a shot. And, maybe you don't win the first time. I didn't, but you stick around and keep at it, and keep organizing, and keep listening to your neighbors, and you make it the second time in. And if that's you, or if you think that's you and you're listening, you've seen me do this before, Howard. I'll do it again. My phone number is 304-610-6512. We'd be happy to talk to anybody who's interested in getting involved in any of this stuff in any way. And even if you're not sure where you fit, still be in touch, and we'd be happy to find a role for you in this movement.
Well, I've said for a long time, regardless of West Virginia can't wait, I think candidate recruitment's the critical thing. If we don't put more qualified and energetic candidates out and begin to work their way up the ladder, so to speak, we're not going to see any change. We have spent a long time in West Virginia with the old folks, the old timers. And I don't mean old folks because I'm an old guy, but I mean folks who have been around for forever and ever. Amen. And it is time to get some new name and new blood in there. People can look at it's replacejoemanchin.com, right?
That's exactly right.
All right, Stephen, good talk to you again. We'll keep in touch from time to time. We'll see how things are going, all right?
Anytime. Good to talk to you, too. Take care, Howard.
Thanks a lot. Stephen Smith, the former gubernatorial candidate for West Virginia Can't Wait, lost to Ben Salango in the Democratic primary, and co-chair of West Virginia Can't Wait, which is a sort of political movement. I see it as kind of I know Stephen doesn't like all these phrases, but to me it's sort of the more progressive alternative to the traditional Democratic Party that we have right now. I just don't know in West Virginia that we're ready for that. I just don't know. I mean, I'm not saying no. I don't want to discourage anybody. I guess you got to start somewhere. So, all right, there you go. 8:30, 8:22 till the hour here on the Watchdog Morning Show. Got a couple of just sort of sidelight of the news stories I thought I would share with you in the next half hour as we prepare to turn things over to the legislative watchdogs. They're coming in at 9. Hoppy is in at 10 here on the Watchdog. We are the morning show on the Watchdog, WKKX and WVOY, AM and FM.
The Metro News Update is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
West Virginia Metro News, I'm Kelly.
I'll do a couple stories and break if you want me to, Biff. It's up to you. Okay. All right. Up to you. Thanks. Yeah. Okay. Right, right. Okay. All right, well, save what you can. And how about yesterday's show? Was it savable? And it stopped too. Shoot. All right. Okay. All right. All right. And then I got to figure out why is it doing that. There's something, obviously something's gone wrong. So I'll take a look at it when I get in. Like I said, I don't like to mess too much remotely. I'm afraid I'll do something that I can't fix when I'm trying to do it on my phone. So, all right. I appreciate it. Thanks.
And there was an 11-on-11 scrimmage without tackling. After Tuesday's practice, Mountaineer coach Neil Brown talked about how important the next 2 weeks will be in building depth.
There's some guys that they got to get ready. They don't have the comfort of sitting around and waiting. Those guys are a lot of them in our secondary. Davis Mallinger, we got to get him ready. St. McLeod, we got to get him ready. Charles Woods, who's a transfer, a little bit different, but we've got to get him ready to play. Lance Dixon, Deshaun Stevens, they're transfers, but they got to be ready to play. And then you're talking about a short turnaround. You know, offensively, Wyatt Milam he's going to play. You know, Caden Prather, he's going to play. Justin Johnson is going to have opportunities to play, and those are at all positions where true freshmen are going to be not, I wouldn't say pressed, but they have an opportunity and we have a need.
Preseason workouts will resume Thursday with the September 4th season opener at Maryland, a little more than 2 weeks away. The Charleston Gazette reports it has confirmed with Marshall offensive lineman Billy Ross that Ross has stepped away from the Marshall team and has quit playing football. Ross, a North Carolina transfer who was expected to start along the line for the Mountaineers, told Gazette, quote, "I'm done playing football." You're listening to Metro News, the voice of West Virginia. Baseball from Tuesday, Dodgers beat the Pirates by a final of 4-3. Cubs edged the Reds 2-1. Milwaukee beat St. Louis 2-0. Colorado over San Diego 7-3. Former Mountaineer Alek Manoah suffered the loss as Washington beat Toronto 12-6. Manoah allowed 7 runs, 6 earned over 3 innings. Tampa beat Baltimore 10-0 with former Mountaineer John Means suffering the loss to fall to 5-5. From the Metro News Sports Desk, I'm Kyle Wiggs.
You know, there's variety shows, and then there's, well, my variety show. I'm Bill DeFabio, and I bring you the best variety talk in the Ohio Valley, quite possibly the world. Join me from noon till 2 to talk sports, nostalgia, and hear from some of the legends of the game. You won't believe who I have on next. The Bill DeFabio Variety Show, noon till 2 on the Watchdog.
For all of your IT needs, visit OmniPerforms.com. Omni Strategic Technologies, the only IT company that the Watchdog trusts.
America's infrastructure connects our communities and makes our nation work. These systems are vital to our everyday lives and Ohio's economy. That's why Senator Rob Portman led the way in passing legislation that makes critical investments in Ohio's roads, bridges, and electricity systems. Critical investments in the infrastructure that makes America and Ohio great. Here's Senator Portman on C-SPAN.
Because it is landmark and needed legislation in fixing our nation's roads, bridges, railroads, our ports, our waterways, our electrical grid, our broadband network, and more. It will be a lasting bipartisan achievement to help the people we represent.
Repairing our roads and bridges, upgrading electrical systems, and increasing access to information systems is good for our families, good for America, and good for our future. Thank you, Senator Portman, for leading the way on a real infrastructure plan that rebuilds America and invests in Ohio. Thank you for voting to invest in us. Learn more at let'sinvestinus.com. Paid for by Citizens for Responsible Energy Solutions.
Over the years, you've brought opioids into your home. They helped when you were in pain, and you held on to them just in case. But holding on to opioids puts your family at risk. Learn more at www.fda.gov/drug disposal.
Save big money with 11% off everything now at Menards, your home improvement store. The 6-inch new construction recessed housing makes installing recessed lights safe and simple. It features airtight construction with built-in push-in connectors for easy wiring. All Lithonia lighting, utility, recessed housings, and trims are 11% off now at Menards. Good through August 21st. Savings are mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards. Who wants craft beer? Saturday, August 21st, the Mountaineer Brewfest is back at Wheeling Heritage Port, showcasing craft beers from West Virginia's finest brewers. With great food, live entertainment, and many more craft beer selections in our beer garden, it's a wild and wonderful time, and you don't want to miss out. Proceeds benefit a Special Wish Foundation. Get your tickets now at MountaineerBrewFest.com. Brought to you by Wheeling Island Hotel, Casino, Racetrack, and the UPS Store.
West Virginia Outdoors is the Mountain State's only hook and bullet radio show, dedicated to the more than 250,000 hunters and anglers across the state. Award-winning host Chris Lawrence has been tracking down hunting and fishing stories for more than 25 years.
Went in behind a little birch tree at its head. I reached down and got the bow positioned and found its horns and dropped down and shot it in the neck.
Whether it's hunting and fishing news,
it tracks real super well, but not with a 60-pound carp tied to the side.
Or just compelling stories about the enjoyment of the great outdoors.
How close did you let him get in before you let fly on him?
He was about 18 yards, Chris. He got turned in the right angle there, and I touched off the trigger. And when I hit him, he ran kind of up the hill, which scared me at first.
West Virginia Outdoors covers it all. Saturday mornings at 7:06 a.m. And for your daily fix, Outdoors Today brings you 2.5 minutes of news and notes from the woods and water every weekday morning. No one covers the great outdoors like Chris Lawrence. And Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
Uh-oh, guess what day it is? Guess what day it is? Huh? Anybody? Guess what today is?
It's hump day.
Woo-woo!
You can vote in our Watchdog poll and read commentary in our blogs on watchdognetwork.com. The Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe continues.
71 degrees, the Wheeling, Ohio County Airport, 72 degrees here at my home studios in the Elm Grove section of Wheeling, 72. At the Robinson Auto Group Studios, downtown Wheeling, in the heart of the Ohio Valley, a good steady soaking rain still coming down pretty much all around the upper Ohio Valley. We do have a flash flood watch in effect until 8 o'clock tonight. Zach says we're going to see maybe 1 to 2 inches of rain during the day. Could even be a little bit more in certain areas depending on where you are and how wet the ground is and all that kind of stuff. So it's going to be a rainy, verstunken kind of day today. Be aware of that. As I said, about 72 is what we're looking at right now. It's kind of across the board. A text line, 304-214-1600, 304-214-1600. Mr. Monroe, no talk today about the biggest news story on the planet? I'm going to assume that's Afghanistan. I guess that's what you're talking about. No, we're not going to talk about Afghanistan today. We spent almost all of yesterday on it. We spent a good bit of Tuesday on it. Of Monday on it. We have talked about it a lot. ABC News is covering it, top of the hour, every hour, throughout the day today here on the Watchdog. And whether you think it's the biggest news story on the planet or not, there's other stuff to talk about, and we're talking about other stuff. This is not we only pick one subject and talk about it like, some of the national cable networks do. We try and pick up on some local news, some statewide stuff, Ohio stuff, West Virginia stuff. And yes, the big national stories, again, which we've talked about. I assume that's what you're talking about. So if the fact that I talk about other things offends you, I've said it before, go away. It's okay, go away if it offends you. Go find somebody that lives in that little narrow world where that's all they talk about. Most people here in the Ohio Valley have a lot of other things on their mind besides Afghanistan. At least that's my take on it. And will we talk about it more tomorrow, the next day? Probably. But anyway, no talk today about the biggest news story on the planet. Again, it was Afghanistan. No, we're not getting into that today. And now this will really tick him off. This will really tick the guy off, because what I've got coming up in the final 10 minutes is no news at all. It's not newsy at all. It's just fun stuff. It's just fun stuff. That'll really tick him off. Biff, when you're over at your dad's house, watching TV or something, Do you all sit in the same seats usually? You know, does your dad have a chair he sits in, or do you have a chair you sit in, or a part of the sofa? Or do you all kind of tend to gravitate to the same seats?
Well, he definitely has his chair with the table and the little lamp on it, and that's his spot. You know, you don't sit there unless, of course, you're the little ones, and then that's okay. They're the only exception, I think. Whenever they come over, it's okay. But no, he has his, and I'm either it's either the couch or the chair, but mostly for me, it's the couch.
Yeah. By the way, it's the same thing in our house. I have, there's a certain spot I sit on the sofa. That's my spot. Everybody knows that's where I sit there. But sometimes Teddy's sitting there, and I'll come into the living room, get ready to sit, and I go, oh, Teddy's there. And my wife will start saying, oh, no, Teddy, you have to sit. No. He's the only person allowed to be in my seat.
Yeah.
If he wants to be there, I'll go somewhere else. Anyway, new survey says 2/3 of Americans say they have unofficial, quote, assigned seating in their homes. And I would think most people do. And most people in this survey say they're very passionate about their spot. 55% of the people surveyed said they would feel very uncomfortable if they were sitting somewhere other than their spot. I mean, I think that concept was really made very visual in the old All in the Family show. Archie Bunker had his chair. Archie sat in that chair, and that was his chair. And woe be to Meathead or even to Dingbat if she was to sit in Archie's chair. So most of us have a favorite spot, and we are passionate about it. And again, I have to be honest. I am absolutely among that. Let's see. Another recent poll: 63% of people say when they eat dinner at home, they generally sit in the same place. Yeah, okay, that's probably true. My wife and I, other than if the family is here when we eat in the kitchen, we've reached that point where we're old people. We sit in the living room and eat, So yeah, we don't tend to have assigned seating for dinner. Well, that's not true. Actually, if the kids come over, if we do have a family dinner, either for an occasion, Easter or something, or my wife is talking about starting up Sunday dinners together again, then we do tend to have assigned seating. Everybody has a seat. Anyway, I thought it was kind of interesting. 2/3 of Americans say they do have assigned seating, if you will, in their own homes. If you are going to travel, the airlines still, of course, first of all, have mask mandates. The Transportation Safety Administration reinforced that yesterday. Trains, buses, planes, certainly, airports, masks are mandatory in all of those places. So that's one thing that's changing. Here's something else that's changing as a result of if you're going to be traveling. You may be finding yourself paying for things you used to assume were free. Now, in the airline industry, we know that it used to be you could get, first of all, in the beginning, your baggage was just baggage, no charge. Then it became charged for more than one bag, but you could still have your carry-on. Spirit Airlines began charging people for carry-ons, and now they charge for everything, and a lot of other airlines are following suit. The question is, could hotels do the same thing? Wall Street Journal had a big story this week on one company called MCR Development. They own over 100 large hotels around the country, fourth largest hotel operator in this country. And they've been testing what they call an a la carte business menu. For example, it used to be, you used to see Biffy on the big sign outside a hotel or motel, free cable, pool, those kind of things. This hotel chain now charges $25 to use the pool. So if you go to a hotel and you want to swim in the pool, $25. Early check-in used to be an amenity that you were offered. We give you early check-in. $20 for early check-in in this hotel. And then another $20 for late check-out. So for God's sake, stay within their boundaries, because if you check in early and check out late, that's $40 extra they're charging. Also, used to see as a big deal for hotels, We have a gym, we have an exercise room. Now, this particular hotel chain is charging a fee to use the gym. So it's just one hotel chain. Wall Street Journal had the story this week. But the truth of the matter is, I think you're going to start seeing this probably happening more and more. Hotels obviously went through a very bad time during the pandemic as well. Let's face it, people weren't traveling. So now they're going to have, they're starting to charge for everything. Again, including, this really upsets me, Biff, including for the breakfast. One of the ways I pick my hotel usually is who's got the best breakfast buffet for free. Hampton always has a great breakfast buffet. That's one of my go-to hotels. Yikes. I don't know about Hampton. I didn't mean them specifically, but there are some hotels now starting to charge for breakfast as well. So, again, another sort of pandemic-related change that is coming. Here's another weird pandemic-related shortage. We've talked about, all the different kinds of shortages from ketchup packets to lumber and everything else for a while. Apparently, in some parts of the country, Biff, school systems don't have enough bus drivers. Pittsburgh, not too far away, Pittsburgh says they are in need of 400 bus drivers to fill out their fleet. In Nevada, a school district is handing out $2,000 bonuses to new drivers. You want to drive a school? It used to be the school bus was like, you were retired, you had some time, you could make a few extra bucks. It used to be sort of that. It was a nice job, don't get me wrong, but it was like, yeah, make a few extra bucks, drive a school bus, no big deal. Man, now they're running short of bus drivers. I like this one. In Wilmington, Delaware, there's one school offering to pay parents to drive their kids to school. If you agree to drive your own kids to school and pick them up, they pay the parents $700. Excuse me. My wife is out right now taking Teddy to school, and she and I will pick him up later on today. I want my $700.
They got they don't have a carpool deal thrown in there too, do they?
That's not a bad idea, actually. If I'm a parent in this district where they're doing this in Delaware, I'd be thinking, you know what? I'll volunteer to take other kids, and I'll get their $700 too. Yes, I'm driving 5 separate kids to school today. I believe that entitles me to $3,500. Geez, I don't know. Before COVID, 44% of parents were sending their kids to school on buses. Now only 38% of the parents plan to do so. Now, some of that probably is concern over COVID, I guess, and, concern about buses and so on. But I guess bus drivers are in demand. I don't know if that's true around here in the Ohio Valley or not. We actually have many school bus drivers who listen. If you want to text me on the text line at 304-214-1600, or if you have my personal text, are you having, is Ohio County, Marshall County, Belmont County, are they having having problems with getting bus drivers? I don't know. I suppose it's something I could look into and see. Let's see, what else have I got? Anything else here real quick? Food news, McDonald's is adding pull-apart glazed donuts next month. Oh, donuts. Donuts, I like that. Taco Bell testing 2 fancy nacho fry options. Oh, come on. Taco Bell is going to have a truffle-infused sauce. Tell me what person who goes to Taco Bell who wants a truffle sauce. I suppose they know what they're doing. Maybe. Girl Scouts adding a new cookie called Adventurefuls next season. A brownie-inspired cookie featuring a caramel-flavored cream center, a drizzle of chocolate sauce, and a touch of sea salt. I kind of like the sound of that. I might be willing to give that a try. Anyway, that's some of the fast food news for you this morning. And that's all I got. I got to get out of here. Time for me to say sayonara, see you, bye-bye, farewell. I got to go. I got to get out of here. Kirchhoff's got the com coming up at 10. The legislative watchdogs are coming up next. And as for me, as always, good Lord willing, creeks don't rise, bat phone doesn't ring, don't get impeached, don't retire, ticker keeps on ticking, and Teddy says it's okay to go back to work tomorrow, Granddad. I'll be back tomorrow morning, 7 o'clock. Now, the go-around of the big gig. Are you back with me, Biffy?
I will be back for a Thursday.
We will keep on doing it till we get it right.
That could be a long time.
Indeed.
The Watchdog is FM 98.1, AM 1600 WKKX Wheeling, FM 97.7, AM 1370 WVLY Moundsville.
The ABC News is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
Tuesday, thousands were still scrambling to try and find a way.
All right, Biffy. I will see you in an hour or so. And we'll figure out what the problem is with the... maybe we'll figure out what the problem is with Audacity, but see what you can do to save what you can, and I'll see where the problem is when I get there. All right, I'll see you in a bit. All right, thanks. Bye.
Afghanistan, including all U.S. Embassy personnel, bar a core group of diplomats. For those Americans still in the country, a safe exit from the airport guaranteed, but the journey there has to be attempted at their own risk. An email to U.S. nationals saying the United States government cannot guarantee your security as you make this trip.
The Biden administration expected to discuss the process of beginning to get a third booster shot for those who have received either Moderna or Pfizer vaccines against COVID. Robert Wood Johnson Foundation CEO Dr. Richard Besser on how the rollout will happen, probably.
What I expect is it will be the same order as before.